Hi there. I attended the mom conference in Ottawa recently, and when I heard about it, I didn't know what it was. So I just wanted to talk about my experience with it and maybe talk a little bit about what it is. Basically, the way the mom conference was described to me, it's like a one-stop shop for the modern mom with community resources and other professionals. So I've been a working professional for the last 11 years, and I've gone to many conferences. I love conferences. I love the networking with other professionals, and since being on mat leave, I really do miss just having professional conversations and, you know, the inspiration that you get from that. So the first thing that struck me about this event was that it was not baby friendly, which is really unusual for anything with the word mom in the title. So at first I was kind of disappointed, but then I got childcare and I got over it. When I got to the mom conference, it was being hosted in a yoga studio, and the vibe was really calm, and I'm not sure if maybe one had to do with the other, but maybe like our chakras were aligning or something. So the first thing that I noticed that I found different from most mom events is that people were fully engaging with each other. People were already networking first thing in the morning. They were having coffee with each other. They were chatting. They were fully engaged, not like half listening which is what occurs really when you bring your kid with you. It's hard to really have a conversation. I think we all can relate to that. Yeah, I routinely attend mom events, and this was definitely something that stood out to me. It was like a collection of women who were like well put together, and like everybody's hair was blown out and their makeup was done and they were well dressed, which is really unusual when you have your kid with you. So it was kind of like a collection of proud, powerful women. So that was really interesting. So there were a bunch of vendors and sponsors and presenters there. I found every brand, every presentation, every vendor to be really appropriate with the population. Maybe I'm just a bit of a keener, but there were like 5 minutes allocated to networking with these booths in between the presentations, which is barely enough time to really run over and kind of establish a rapport, grab a business card, and head over to the next presentation. So for the speakers at the presentation, some of them were really, actually, it was really interesting because they were all so different, but they all were extremely pertinent to the concerns that moms have. And looking around the room, it really kind of was a warm, fuzzy feeling when you see everybody having aha moments. It's like you realize how much you have in common with these other women. I mean, there were psychologists presenting about relationship issues. There was a naturopath who presented everyone with a 30-day challenge that people were still talking about at lunch, and it kind of influenced their choices, I think. There was a paramedic, there was a politician, there was a chartered accountant talking about like tax issues common with small businesses and entrepreneurs. There was a lawyer, a marketing consultant, and it really did have, it was quite eye-opening. So there were other speakers there that you can find online if you Google mom conference. I won't get into everything. I should add though that there was a sleep consultant there whose question and answer could have been probably another hour session in itself. So because the event had concurrent presentations, there was one in each room going on at pretty much at all times, and you had to choose one or the other. I didn't get to see everybody there, but from what I did see, it was like top-notch professionals and like local professionals, and they were really captivating public speakers. So it was a really effective and efficient way of presenting moms with reputable local professionals. I also want to add, I can't forget this part, the lunch was really good. So usually at these conferences that I attend, I always bring my own lunch. Any event really that's organized and catered, you never really know what you're walking into. So I always bring my own lunch. I pack a cooler. I usually leave it in the car, and if lunch is pretty shady, I go get it. Because there is nothing worse than having lunch, and then after lunch you're just bogged down, you're exhausted, and you can't absorb any of the information in the afternoon. It was catered by a local non-franchise company, which I also thought was a nice touch. So overall, it was a great day of information. It was packed with information, but I do have two critiques. The first thing that I do want to say is that the event was booked until 2:15. The organizer mentioned that last year it ran over time, and this year was no exception. So, well, this event could easily have been a full day. And if that's not feasible, then maybe the agenda needs to be tweaked a little bit, because everything was just way too tight, and it was really painfully obvious that the audience they were craving more question and answer. They really needed more engagement with these presenters. The second suggestion, maybe it's the academic in me, I'm not quite sure, but just having the concurrent presentations, I felt like I was missing out. And everybody was using PowerPoint presentations. I would have liked to have access to the slides, just so I could, so the presentations that I missed, I could take that and review it on my own. And the presentations that I attended, I could have taken further notes on it as I was listening. So finally, something has to be said that after a full day of stimulation like that, usually I have to go home and recharge my batteries, but actually after this event I felt really empowered and I felt really inspired to just keep moving forward and setting some bold goals. So lastly, I just want to say that this, all in all, the Mom Conference is an excellent, very efficient and effective way to connect moms with local reputable professionals, some of the best local experts. And I feel like now as I'm navigating motherhood, I know like who I can lean on, and I've been exposed to these people, so it gave me a taste of different things and just a little bit of information. So now I'm empowered to kind of do my own research. So I felt like it was just a really good introduction to some local experts to help kind of navigate through motherhood in a non-traditional sense. So anyways, let me know if this video helped you make a decision as to whether or not you want to attend next year. If you have any questions or comments, just leave it down below, and hopefully I'll see you next year.